I'm really stoked to do this. It's been a while. We've been trying to catch up and get this done for a long time. A guy who might fly a little bit under the radar. You know him because his name is in his business, at least his first name. But beyond that, you might not. And it's a business that has really flourished over the past couple of now, decades, Adam. Adam Martin from David Adams Card World joins us on this edition of Bull in the Basement. Did we first meet at the Pro Bowl in Hawaii? Is that where we first met? Do you recall?
It was a blur because I think we were at a bar all day or a few bars, but yeah, that's absolutely correct. That was sometime in a year that started with a 9, I think.
Hey, I think you're right. It might have been 98 or 9. Yes, sir. And I got to tell you, for people that are, up in arms about the Pro Bowl and snubbing and everything, man, a Hawaii Pro Bowl, and I've been to an Orlando Pro Bowl. I know it's a long trip for a lot of people, and because of that, could be potentially expensive if they're bringing families or whatever. But man, you know what's dependable in Hawaii? The weather, right? Yeah. I mean, man, the Orlando Pro Bowl I went to a couple of years ago was brutal. It was probably 50 degrees. It was not cool. I know it's in Vegas this year and it's indoors, but Vegas, even this time of year, can sometimes be kind of tricky in terms of weather. But that was a blast. I got to ask you, on that trip, I got a $1 bill, a $1 bill, because I had nothing else to sign, signed by Eric Dickerson. So he was just sitting there watching like the All-Star Sand, flag football game, whatever it was. I'm like, oh my God, it's Eric Dickerson. And I had nothing to sign. And I happen to have a pen or a Sharpie. Is that worth anything more than the paper it's printed on?
To you? I mean, sure. I mean, I think, people ask me this kind of stuff all the time, and I have some wonderful people who head up our whole memorabilia division. But I'm going to guess that Eric Dickerson is something like a $50 autograph. So I usually just tell people it's usually the value of the item plus the value of the autograph. So I'm going to go with $51.
Okay, very nice.
If you have to hold a gun to my head to ask me a value on that, but again, that's just I'm just taking a stab there.
So he's the Adam from David Adams Card World. Of course, they got the big shop up on Sheridan, which is enormous. And you guys have come such a long way, man. I mean, talk about sort of the genesis of the company. How'd you get into it? How did it start up? And man, it's like I said, it's come so far since then.
Sure. So I started collecting cards when I was a kid. Some of my fondest memories. But there was a card my younger brother had. He had a Lynn Swann rookie card. I didn't even know it was Lynn Swann's rookie card, but he had a Lynn Swann rookie card. And, I don't know, I was like 12 and he was 10. And I was mad that he had it and I didn't have it. And long story short, I was going to UB and I didn't have a car. And I was in such great shape. I would like jog up Hurdle Avenue over to Main Street to go to the Main Street campus, catch a bus to the Amherst campus. And there were like 3 baseball card stores on Hurdle at the time. And I walked in one and I bought that Lynn Swann card for like $3 and I was hooked. And I showed my brother, we're talking like 7 years later. And he's like, I don't care. So I ended up getting a job in one of those stores, a part-time job on Hurdle. And that was in like 1985, 86. And I started going to card shows, and I really loved the idea of buying something for $10 and selling it for $20. And so pretty soon I was spending every nickel I had on cards, and I was thinking, like basketball and hockey and football were very undervalued at the time. So I bought a lot of that, which was a good idea. And was doing shows in Rochester and Syracuse, occasionally going to the big show down in New York City, and of course every show in Buffalo. There used to be 4 shows a week in Buffalo during that late 80s, during that craze period into the early 90s. And then I decided, I was going to go to law school. That was the plan. And I didn't really have the money because I spent all my money on cards, and my parents were doing fine, but they didn't have the money to send me to law school. So I just thought I would open up a card store to sell off my cards. And I asked a couple friends, nobody wanted to do it with me. And I asked Dave, who's just another young guy from the shows. And Dave's like, okay. And that was kind of that. And then needless to say, I didn't go to law school. So that was May 15th of 91.
Wow.
So we had our 30th anniversary last year for the company. And I guess, it's been kind of a roller coaster ride. We got into mail order very early, which was good. We got into e-commerce very early, which was a really good idea. And now, you look at us now, and I think we hired our 135th employee, and I'm fairly certain, though everybody knows us for the store, and I love the store because I don't think there's another store like it in the country. but I think we're the largest online seller of trading card, like unopened boxes, like, something like this, like trading card unopened boxes in the entire world. And we have an office in Manila in the Philippines. We're opening one up in the Netherlands. So it's been a roller coaster ride. So we really enjoy it, and we're happy that we're actually a fairly reasonably sized business here, helping support our community.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's interesting you mentioned overseas shops, because people might not know this, and I think in talking to you and some of your guys, that the overseas market for American stuff is enormous, right? And that's why you're sort of trying to take advantage of that.
Sure, basketball and soccer,
Yeah,
specifically. U.S. is your baseball, football market. Since a couple of years ago, since Wall Street got interested in cards, I would say that basketball actually sells really, really well in the United States now. But still, about half of our basketball sales are going to be into Asia and Europe and Australia. And soccer, same thing, maybe more than half. So, and then you've got servicemen overseas. So we shipped a lot of APO boxes, a lot of football, baseball that does make it out of the country. But the international market is certainly key to any business like mine. So we focus on it quite a bit.
So the last 30 years, I mean, how has your business and the industry fluctuated, and is it at its highest right now, would you say, or is it sort of at a middling ground? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of it's more than just cards now in terms of what you guys do, but like, where's it at?
Sure. So, that I kind of referenced that late 80s, late 80s, early 90s was everybody considered kind of the boom period. But, those were $10 boxes selling for like $25 and $30, and people putting cases in their basement, and they all lost money. These giant 70-pound cases, people lugged down to their basement, and they kept them there. And then you had some periods of ups and downs. The market went down, and they came back in the mid 90s, and it's kind of ebbed and flowed. 2001 was a great year. Then you had the kind of that recession, that real estate based recession in 2008, and that hurt everybody. And so it's kind of ebbed and flowed. And then sometime in coinciding with when COVID came along, like in the early part of 2020, 2019 already, Wall Street and big investment and outside money started looking at our business, because they, you'll say trading cards are outperforming the stock market. And so there became a lot of interest in it. And then COVID was kind of the final catalyst, where people were home and looking to do something, invest their money. And people made a lot of money in crypto. People made a lot of money in sneakers, and then people made a lot of money in cards. And some of that crypto and sneaker money has come into cards, and it's gotten really crazy, where you see the value of like a Michael Jordan rookie card has gone up 10 times, and Mickey Mantle's rookie card has gone up 10 times, and they're not alone. I mean, everything just went kind of crazy. So this is the best it's ever been. To answer your question, this is the craziest we've ever seen it. It's changed the lives of everybody I know in this business, including my own. And as COVID was kind of starting to slow down, and conventions were coming back, and I would go to these things, and I would see somebody I hadn't seen in 18 months, and you just look at each other and just like, you don't know what to say. It's just been the word we use the most often is it's been stupid. This business has been stupid. And everything ebbs and flows, so we're probably starting coming back to the down cycle, but it's been great while it's lasted.
So you mentioned dacardworld.com. I went on and did a 30-second research.
Okay.
You have a Panini 1819 case listed at $80,000.
Sure.
So the person that has $80,000 of disposable or investment income, what does that guy do with that box once he's paid $80,000 for it?
Well, there's a few things people do when we sell high-end cases to them. I would say about 50% of them, they put it on the shelf. 1819 basketball, you're talking about Luka Doncic. He's kind of the Crosby of basketball, where he's probably going to be an all-time great. He whines a little bit. I wish he'd stop that. But he's an unbelievable player. If Dallas could get their act together, I mean, they're a playoff team, but they're not a championship team. If they could get their act together and win some championships, I think, his cards have already gone up quite a bit, and they will continue to go up. So if somebody's a believer in him, or Trae Young down in Atlanta, They buy that case, they put away and hope it appreciates in value. And another half of guys will buy that and they'll just live stream break it. And they'll sell slots, either, random team slots or something like that. They'll just live stream break it. And I think we sold a case for $100,000 last month, and they had a live stream break on it. I don't think anything good came out, but it's still interesting. There's hundreds of very significant breakers across the world, and they're always looking for something to elevate their channel. And having a crazy high-end case like that they rip live is usually good for them from a marketing perspective.
Yeah. So again, for people that don't know, because this is if you're older in the collecting world, probably 40s and 50s, you probably don't know what a breaker is. But basically, it's kind of what we're doing, but it's a single guy. And you can't see the guy most of the times. You only see like a pack, like you'll open up a box, take out a pack, right? Totally unopened, and one at a time kind of go through card after card after card after card. Now, my question to you is, and I was really interested in this, and I know you'll have the answer, but I would assume once that, and I guess I'm wrong automatically in asking this question, but when you open the pack and someone has touched that card, how does that card not depreciate in value?
Yeah, I think you're looking at it from maybe from a different perspective than most collectors might look at it, and that is, you can't. So what breaking has done is, this box right here is that I'm holding here, it's an $1,800 basketball box. All right, most people can't afford to do that, to buy a box like that. But some people might want to take a shot at Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball rookies, and so instead of paying $1,800, they might buy into a break at $59.95, and they'll get a random team and they'll hope that they get Charlotte, that they pull a ball. But really, it's for their $59.95. They're in a community now, because they'll be part of a break. There'll be chat going on. All the other people in the break will be congratulating each other. A big hit will come out, and it'll end up on YouTube and getting a ton of views. And it's created what used to be people ripping packs in a card store. It's just made it an online phenomenon. Where, when you talk about one of these $100,000 cases being broken, there could be thousands of people in there in the chat, watching it, viewing it, talking about it. It's kind of changed the face of our business. I think we have 5 breakers on staff right now, and I don't think we break 24/7, but we're close. And it's pretty interesting. But so if once they touch the card, unless they drop the card, they don't hurt the value of the card. But it does come down to, this box right now is $1,800, and after you open it, it could be $200, it could be $10,000. It's basically, I think,
what's inside it. Yeah.
But as a purist, if I'm going to open up a box of cards, I'm just going to open up a box of cards. I'm not going to buy a box of cards from someone in another part of the world and have them open it for me online. I get the appeal, but I am a purist. I'm going to open it. I want to open it myself.
So sport that's most profitable right now? It sounds like basketball. Yeah. And that is why. Football.
Yeah. And I think it's because Topps has done a great job with baseball, but some of the Panini brands that they establish in basketball that are also in football have really, really caught on. And let's face it, football is America's sport. And so football has kind of exploded in trading card popularity over the past couple of years. Basketball, because of its international appeal, there's just not enough LaMelo rookies to go around. The limited ones, numbered ones, autographed ones, there's just not enough to go around. And so it's caused the value of the boxes and the cases to kind of explode. So basketball by far is the best, and then football, and then hockey and baseball. There's not a lot of, we're maybe the largest one of the largest 2 or 3 sellers of hockey in the country, in the US. We don't sell into Canada because Canada has their own distribution. But in the US, if you're a card collector and you want to buy a box of Upper Deck hockey cards, you're pretty much going to, come to us because we have it all. So hockey, we've been able to make really strong, but basketball is the key.
Is the one. Will you guys be getting into NFTs at all? I mean, and is that something that you think has a strong foreseeable future?
Well, if you're if I think I'm too much of a purist to be in a break because I want to open it myself, well, NFT takes that 10 times the other direction.
Right.
I think that NFTs are very interesting. The problem with NFTs are, I remember in the early 90s when they would want to make a collectible of like Shaquille O'Neal, and there'd be 10,000 of them. And in the early 90s, 10,000 wasn't a lot. And suddenly 10,000 was way too many of something. There weren't 10,000 people who wanted that item. So NFTs remind me of that. However, NFT, there's only one, right? So the NFT, but you can just make them over and over and over. And so, you know, it depends on what kind of NFT you're talking about. I usually talk about, you know, there'll be an NFT like the athletes get involved. And it might be Tom Brady, and he might do a little video clip. Hey, it's me and Giselle at the beach with the kids. Everybody wave hi. And that's $10,000. And you can just make him every time he goes to the beach. So where's the collectability in something where it's not really unique? It can be made over and over and over and over. When somebody pays, you know, $250,000 for a 9-second clip of LeBron jamming the ball during the Cleveland playoff run. Well, I can go on YouTube and watch that anytime I want. What's the value in owning that 9-second clip when you're not allowed to use it you can't use it for marketing. It's still technically NBA's clip and NBA's rights. So I don't necessarily get that. Some of the trading card manufacturers are doing unique, you know, cards and items that exist in the cloud that are truly unique. That I kind of get. You know, if you're a big, you know, card collector and you want Joe Burrow, you know, NFT of this particular card, and it only exists, you know, in the cloud, I guess I kind of get it. But boy, that's tough. There was an article on like Forbes or something like that where the title of the article was NFTs depreciate greatly in value to surprise of no one. Or something like that. And I just thought that kind of summed it up. It's NFTs feel very fad like to me, and I apologize to anyone whose whole life savings is tied up in NFTs, but that's got that. I don't see those being a big part of my future. I hope I'm wrong. I you know, I'll do whatever I can do to succeed, but I don't know. That's
so you mentioned Tom Brady.
Sure.
You know, he's going to retire, whatever.
Yeah.
How much does his stuff gain value now that he's retiring, if at all?
I think that usually out of sight, out of mind. I think that in historically speaking, you know, somebody would say like, somebody said to me, hey, when Nolan Ryan retires, so we're going back a long time, I bet his rookie cards are going to go way up in value. And my answer was, you know, when he hits the Hall of Fame. And my answer, well, he's in the Hall of Fame now. You know, basically he's a Hall of Famer now.
Right.
You know, Tom Brady is I was on one day on an interview on WGR. I said he was like the greatest of all time, and my phone blew up yelling at me. And so I won't say it, but his statistics and his what he's accomplished speaks for themselves. I mean, he could keep playing. Don't get me wrong, I hate the guy, but you know, being a Bills fan, you can't be a Tom Brady fan. But his numbers and what he's done, he's going out on literally, maybe not on a high point for how his season ended, but he's still good. He's still in the MVP discussion. So I tend to believe you're out of sight, out of mind, that when guys are lighting it up, they keep growing their legacy, that their cards keep going up. So I will say that they may be at their heights now. But if anything has shown me over the past couple years of seeing Brady cards sell for $1 million, there's $1 million Tom Brady cards. Would it surprise me if next year one of those cards sells for like $2 million? No, it wouldn't. So, but I tend to believe that once the guy, you know, you can have some great player and then he gets hurt, he's out for the season, his cards go down in value, which to me usually would tell people, you know, it's a good time to buy them. Right. Joe Burrow was out for a good chunk of last year, right? He was hurt the previous season. And I was like, at the end of the year, and his cards went down in value. And I was telling people, like, I'm not a speculator in individual cards, but I would tell people, I think you should probably be buying Joe Burrow. So that was a solid piece of advice. Right? His cards have gone up 500% maybe since his injury.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't in that text thread. So based on that theory, people should get in on. You're not too late, but now is maybe the time to get on Josh Allen on cards and
Too late for
merch.
Josh Allen. Could have bought Josh Allen. You know, Josh Allen cards have gone up 1,000 to 2,000%. I mean, you could have put $10,000 into Josh Allen cards and had $250,000 in cards now if you bought the right ones.
Man,
the time to buy Josh was when all of us, including me, didn't believe in him. So sorry, Josh. So wrong. Add me to that list of so stupid. Sorry. That was the time to buy his cards, and now, you know, I mean, sure. I mean, if I don't even talk about the Bills going to Super Bowl. I've lived through too much heartache. But short of him at this point going to Super Bowl, winning Super Bowl, I mean, his cards are just, it's so funny to see, to me, doing this for 30 years, to see a Buffalo Bill whose card is so popular. I mean, people love the guy. I mean, people the effort he put forth in Kansas City, people just love him.
Yeah.
All over the country, there's people wearing Josh Allen jerseys who aren't necessarily Bills fans.
And it doesn't hurt that we have
the kid and how he plays.
It doesn't hurt we have national guys, you know, like Kyle Brandt, basically. I mean, the arguably the biggest Bills cheerleader on national TV.
Yeah.
And then you got, you know, other national celebrities, you know, talking Peyton Manning saying "Go Bills" on SNL on Saturday.
I just saw that this morning. Yeah.
Isn't that great? Let's have some fun with this. So Adam Martin, dacardworld.com, David Adams Card World. Best thing you ever acquired. I know you and I were on my radio show some years ago, and you talked about a Saber deed or something like that. Is that?
Yeah, I still have that. Yeah, that was pretty neat. That's we bought in an auction the original document granting the Knox brothers a hockey franchise. And so when you asked me yesterday, you texted me like, "Hey, we'll talk about these types of things." I mean, that's always kind of my go-to. It's framed, it's hanging up. I love it. I mean, I've been a Sabres fan since I was a little boy, and now I have a maybe the best piece of Sabres history you can have, at least one of the best ones, and it's pretty fantastic. It's hard for me to think of anything that it's maybe not that valuable. We've had a lot of other things that are much more valuable, and we've had $1 million comic books, you know.
Wow.
So yeah, so we've had a lot of things that are much more valuable, but it's unique. It means a lot to me as a Buffalo sports fan, and that was a great story. So that might be my favorite, that particular document.
So are those comic books your most expensive thing you've come across?
No, we don't. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, you know, we'll buy. So we have, you know, basically my life is pretty boring. It's distribution. It's unopened boxes and cases on pallets and trucks and stuff going out UPS, looking at spreadsheets. My life is pretty boring, but we have like 20 guys who work for the company who get to do what I used to do back in the day. They run around all around the North America buying collections and going to shows, and they're the ones who come back, Bull, and they're like, "Hey, I got this cool Babe Ruth autograph ball, or I got this Mickey Mantle rookie, or I got this, you know, Joe Namath game worn jersey, or this, you know, first Superman comic." And they come back with these things. I'm always like, wow. You know, sometimes I have to decide, hey, do I want that for myself? You know, sometimes I do, but especially now with the market and collectibles so crazy, it's not uncommon for them to, you know, go to a show and, you know, spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on all kinds of unique things that they bring back and then we resell. So they have the fun job. I think they have the fun job. Anyhow.
So now I'm going to switch back to being a little bit more serious. So getting do you have people that work for you that certify stuff, right? Whether it's cards or autograph memorabilia, things like that.
No,
right?
I mean, not really. I mean, you have people who are experts who, you know, they'll, you know, take comics, right? So comics for years, there's restoration that gets done on comics. And so if you go to a collector calls you and says, you know, I have this first Batman comic, you know, and I want to sell it and I want 6 figures for this comic book, you know, you have to have the expertise to be able to look at it and say, this does not appear restored to me. And on a scale of 1 to 10, this looks like it'd be a 6. And so this is a good deal. And if you're wrong and you buy it and it's a restored book or it's a 5, then suddenly it wasn't a good deal. So you have to have guys who are experts, but there are third parties like CGC does comic books and NGC, part of their business. The coins are based out of Sarasota, PSA, of course, and Beckett, they grade cards. And so generally speaking, anything real high end that you buy now, there's a third party that you'll send the item to get their opinion, and they'll slab it, they'll put it in a holder, and that way people can buy and sell things knowing what they're getting.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize how important that is. So I would say we have experts who believe that it's real when they buy it, believe that it's what it is. But we make mistakes. We bought a Michael Jordan PSA 10 rookie card a few years ago. Now that card is a few $100,000 now, but at the time it's like 25,000. And we bought it, and the card was fake, the holder was fake, the label was fake. It was just a great counterfeit. So,
that's crazy.
Perfect.
That's crazy. And I guess the reason why I asked that is because my wife hates me for the fact that I have tubs and tubs and tubs of stuff that I think are worth something. And, to send any or all of that to a place like PSA or Beckett, first of all, I get it. They're established. They're not going to screw you in terms of getting it back, because a lot of times you have to send it and it's a month before you get it back or see it again. And it's also going to cost you what, $30-$35 to have it certified, and it comes back and it's worth 20. So you're like, damn it. So they're go ahead. Sorry.
So selfless plug. What there's one of the top authenticators in the country is a guy named James Spence, and he has a business called JSA, and he's right up there with PSA and BAS, which is Beckett's authentication arm, for autographs. And I think we have JSA come to Buffalo and do signing certification in the store 2 or 3 times a year. So consistently, dealers ask me like, "Hey, when is JSA going to be?" And I have to ask someone because I never know. But 2 or 3 times a year, JSA comes in and does authentication for people like you, such as yourself, who don't want to have to ship it all. All right. And don't ask me what the rates are. It's not cheap. To get an opinion on a Mickey Mantle autograph is not like $20. I'm sure it's more. But for something like a Jim Kelly or a Thurman Thomas or something you wanted to get certified, if you ever wanted to resell it, then you're talking about, I think, in that kind of much lower price range. But
so the business you got into 30 years ago is booming. You guys not only do cards, but you do gaming, you do comics, you do toys, you do autographed merch, all kinds of stuff. You can see, clothing as well. You can see it all in the Sheridan Drive store, the megalopolis, I'll call it, of collecting or collectibles, David Adams Card World. Awesome to do this, and I mean, we'll do it again. So I can ask you the rest of my questions. You're working. You got a busy day ahead of you. You got to go make money and do your cards, whatever, and probably open up some decks or packs yourself. At any rate, this is awesome to catch up. I'm glad we finally did it, man. And dacardworld.com for you collectors out there. They are a Buffalo company, arguably the biggest distributor in the world, right here in Buffalo. I know you guys are big into charitable and philanthropy and stuff like that, and we appreciate
please,
that.
If you have a cause, if you're Western New York and you have a cause, if it's maybe someone who's a sick dad, or your school is hurting for something, or you have a little league team. Some little league team had their place broken into, and we help them out. But if you're a charitable cause in Western New York and you aren't coming to us, you're making a mistake, because we'll help everyone.
Yeah, and I've seen it done a million times, having worked with a bunch of charities myself. So awesome I mean, it's been great. This is awesome, dude. I'm glad we could finally get it done.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.